So we're going to look at section 2.1. Now we're starting chapter 2, which is about how to deal with equations. We're just going to have to get a little bit of groundwork on this. But first of all, here's our objectives. Number 1, to evaluate algebraic expressions. So you'll notice that's a vocab word we have later. So we want to evaluate. That means figure out what they are. Like if you evaluate someone, you're maybe judging them even. And second of all, to write algebraic expressions. So we're doing two things, writing and evaluating. So they're kind of both tied to the same thing, but that's what our goal is for today. So first we have a few vocab words. Our first one is variable. Find that on your vocab sheet. Go ahead and find that now. And under the part that says definition, under that box, variable should be the first one, I think. It's a symbol that takes the place of a number. A symbol that takes the place of a number. So let me give you some examples here. Use our felt tip pen. What kind of symbols could take the place of a number? Well, it could be like X. We use that sometimes, right? Or maybe we use Y. Or we can use A or B or any other thing. Also, we can even use sometimes symbols. Sometimes in science we use symbols like a triangle. Call it delta. Don't use pi. That's a little different. But we can use symbols. Some other cultures, other languages, they use exclusively symbols like squares, oops, that's not very good, squares, rectangles, triangles, things like that. The next one, I'll go ahead and write that down, got some examples too, is an algebraic expression. So that's an expression, just like think about an expression in English. That's something you say, like it has a string of words, and it may not even be a sentence, but it's an expression. Like, what's up, right? That's not really a whole lot of words, but in math, it's kind of a similar thing. It's a phrase, a mathematical phrase, that is, which means a string of numbers or things put together. In this case, look at what it contains. It contains numbers, variables, and signs. Three things. Numbers, variables, and signs. By signs, we mean like plus, minus, times, divide, those sorts of things. So those are the three things that we can have in an algebraic expression. So go ahead and take a minute to write that down. Let me show you what I mean by an example for that. For example, let's pick a variable, because we have to have a variable in there. How about the variable b? There's our b. We need a sign. How about minus? And a number, maybe. 2. b minus 2. Now, can you think of a way to change that it would still be an algebraic expression? We can change it to plus. Maybe we could change it from b to d. And instead of plus, we could do divide. Oops, that's a bad divide sign, isn't it? And instead of 2, we could change it to 3 or negative 12 or whatever we want, right? So a phrase with numbers, variables, and signs. Now take a look at what we've got here. It says evaluate each expression. So we're going to start, if I can get my highlighter here, by looking at r equals 8. So everywhere we see an r, we're going to put in an 8, which is only one spot out of those two things. Now what we're going to do is we're going to change the color here. I suppose we'll use green. And whenever we see an s, we'll label that green. We're going to plug in a 1. So I'm just labeling color coding. I'm a big color coder, even on the chalkboard. And lastly, need another color. How about this kind of light purplish color here? We'll do t as 3. So everywhere you see a T, you put in 3. Now so far they've all been in B until now. There's a T over there. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and make some sort of connection between these two. So look at part A. We're going to take that 3, plug it in for T. It's supposed to be an arrow on the end there. Didn't really work too well, did it? There. Plug it in for T. So instead of having 6 times T minus 1, here's what we're going to have. We're going to have 6. We're still going to have the minus. We're still going to have the 1. But which part of this is going to change? That's a 1, by the way. Careful with that. The part that's going to change is the t. So we're going to take out that t and change the color so that it hopefully matches a little bit to purple. And we're going to put in 3. Right? Because now, instead of a t, we have a 3 there. So you notice how I didn't change the equation at all, except that I took the t out and put in 3. So what are we going to do now? Well, we still got the parentheses. We've still got the 6. What do you do first in this sort of situation. Remember order of operations? Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So P, parentheses. So we do that 3 minus 1. If we do that, we get 2. So again, so far we haven't done much. All we've really done is taken that 3 minus 1 and found out what it is. Got 2. Now what symbol do you think goes between there? 6 and the 2. Well, what does it mean? Is it 6 plus 2, 6 minus 2, 6 times, or divided by 2? Doesn't that mean times? And so 6 times 2, we get 12. That wasn't so bad, right? Now go ahead and look over at part B. This time we have a few of them to plug in. We're going to start by plugging in 8 for R. So I'm going to start by making kind of the basis. Ooh, it wasn't very straight. The basis of my thing. See, I have a plus sign and a fraction. Now it goes on top. Instead of R, I'm going to take that out. I'm going to put 8. That's a terrible 8. I'm going to take S out, and I'm going to put 1. And I'm going to take T out and put 3. Now that's the same 3 we used last time, right? Now here's what we're doing. We're just substituting. You're taking them out, substituting for something else. So we're going to have our highlighter, and this one's purple. So there's our T. See how that works? I'm going to change the color in this one to green. There's our S that we plugged in. It's a little bit different color green, isn't it? But it's close enough. And lastly, the yellow for 8. Okay. Now all that, well, what it's doing for us is it's giving us just a substitute sort of thing. So do the bottom first. What is 1 plus 3 is? That's right, 4. And we have an 8 on the top. Oops, that's a terrible 8. And then we have 8 divided by 4, last but not least, which is 2. So we got our answer. So it's not really that hard. We have to evaluate by plugging these numbers in somewhere. So we just take those out and plug them in. Give you a second to write that down. Look at the next one. Now this one involves all words. Here's some key words that we have. We're going to again switch to the highlighter. We've got 6 less than, some, times, and divided. So those are kind of our key words. So with that in mind, 6 less than. What function do you think less than is? Plus, minus, times, or divide. If I say I have $5 less than you, you would subtract to find mine. So we know we're going to subtract. Now you got to be careful which one comes first. If I say I have $6 less than you, and you have 10, you would do 10 minus 6. Now the problem is we don't have 10. It says that we have 6 less than how many? Than D, right? So we're actually going to erase this 10, take it out, and put in D. Now that is a expression. It's a terrible D. And it's an algebraic expression. It has letters and numbers and signs, and that's it. 6 less than D. How about the sum of S students and 9? What does sum mean? Sum means plus. Now here order doesn't matter. We have S. Oh, that's a nice S. And we have 9. There's my 9. And that's it. I'm going to let you guys try the last two. Give you a minute to do those and put them on your note sheet. We're going to look at example 3. Now you notice we're moving on to objective 2. It says write 3 different word phrases for 2y. Now first of all we have to know what does that mean? 2y. So what does it mean when two things are next to each other like that? Plus, minus, times, divide. 2 plus y, 2 minus y, 2 times y, 2 divided by y. It means times, right? So here's 3 ways they came up with. The product, another word for times, of 2 and a number y, 2 times a number y, or 2 multiplied by a number y. Now aren't those all saying the same thing? And really they all link back to that 2y that we have up at the top. So we're just trying to get you to see different ways to look at. Okay, last example. It says example 4, the cost of a package of markers is $D. Now, here's a good thing I can do on here is I have a highlighter. So as soon as I see that it's $D, I'm going to highlight that because that seems important. And I notice another number down here, even before I'm done reading, 7. So write an algebraic expression for the total cost in dollars of 7 packages. So in other words, we got this pack of markers. We don't know how much it is. Maybe $4, $5, I don't know. But what we do know is that we're going to need to write an algebraic expression. So it has to have some numbers, some letters. the total cost of 7 packages. Well, let's imagine this off to the side. We're just going to work over here. And imagine that if you have, let's say you have 2 packages. How would you find out how many you have? How much it costs, I mean. Well, it's 2 times 7. What if you had 3 packages? It would be 3 times 7. What if you had 4 packages? It would be 4 times 7. That's a times. Well, what if you had D packages? Now, the thing that's not changing this whole time is the 7. What changes is we have D. So there's our answer, D times 7. Now, when I write this out, oops, didn't circle it very well. When I write this out as my actual answer, I'm going to put the 7 first. And I'm going to get rid of the times sign. So I have just 7D. Now, that's okay to do. You can leave the times sign in. You can leave the order the way it was. Either way is fine. But I'm going to take it out because that's usually how we see it in a math test. So 7D. Think about what that means. If you bought 10 packages, it would be 7 times 10, that's $70. Does that make sense? Seem right? Sure. Always remember to check your work. Well, good. Our 5th hour assignment for today is to look at the online practice that's available. There's a link on my website at weebly.com, and Mr. Stevenson website. Make sure you have it done by the end of today. Otherwise, you'll have to take it home somehow. We'll have to figure that out. So, hope you guys have a great time, and don't forget that I'm here to answer all your questions.